All right, guys, welcome to the stream. I'm gonna delete this layer here. There we go. So on the last stream, last devlog, we implemented this gear up loadout in Godot, and it works. So I'll show it to you guys here. When I hit the play button, I'm gonna change this to this mode. When I hit the play button, it opens up this gear up screen, and you can buy power-ups. So I have 100 coins up here, so I can buy 20 of these things. 9 plus 11 is 20, and that would be the full amount of coins. So that's 9 triple shots and 11 nukes. Let's get some mines and shields in here. So I implemented this on the last stream. I think there were some issues with it at the end of the day, specifically with this bottom tear layer, which I was thinking about doing with a mask. And I ended up doing it with Z order, which is a much better idea than using a mask, and that was my wonderful colleague's idea. But yeah, so this thing works now. It's implemented into the game. So again, you hit the play button, it opens up this gear up. You can choose what to buy. You hit the play button, and it takes you into the matchmaker. And now I'm in the lobby, and I have those weapons. So I have 7 triple shots, 10 nukes, 1 mine, and 1 shield. And this is the lobby screen. And I can shoot the triple shots. I can change the nuke, shoot the nukes. This is the regular missile. You can rocket jump by shooting into the ground, which is kind of our game's signature move. And you can shoot these mines. So we have some performance issues, which you're seeing here. Oh, the game actually just crashed, which is perfect. But we have some performance issues that we're trying to figure out. I wonder if I can see the crash login here. Here we go. Index to property name. Better send this in the Slack. It looks kind of useful. Copy. Go dot. I'm gonna save that. Okay, so yeah, so we have some performance issues in the actual game right now, but I'll show you the non-networked version of the game, which is this battle royale. You fly into this island, there's all these bots, and the last tank alive wins. So I don't have any power-ups right now because I didn't buy a loadout. But when we get everything, all the issues resolved, the loadout is ready to go. And yeah, this is the game. It's pretty fun. These are like SDF, signed distance field terrain. And it's all networked. You can see up in the top there, 75 frames per second, 0 resims, and 0 milliseconds of ping, I think that might be. But if you're a network game engineer, you'll know the resims. There's a crate dropping up there. You can kind of shoot it open. And that's the shield. So now I have the shield, which is like this. So he can't shoot me now. And the bots are pretty dumb, so I don't know if he's going to try to shoot me or not. He did not. I missed. Got him! I gotta get those coins down there so I can buy more power-ups next time. And the water like slowly rises. But when you get like under the halfway mark, it speeds up. Okay, this is the last bot left. Players remain 2. Oh man, he dodged that. He's gonna water himself. There we go. I am the Tank King. I can't wait for this game to come out because I'm gonna be the best player in the world for like at least a few days. Oh, I died. So yeah, when you finish the game, you get these points, and these points, put you higher up on the leaderboard. So we're on season 3 right now, which we're gonna reset this when the game comes out, but right now we're on season 3, and it ends in 3 hours 56 minutes. And I'm in first place on the leaderboard, and I think I won the last season too. Yes, I did, which is why I have the gold crown. Pretty good at this game. Yeah, I got the chat open here. But yeah, so today we're gonna implement these buffs. So that's gonna be health, +1 missile, the speed, and the damage. So we're gonna probably start with health. Um, so what this one is like if you buy this health perk, you get more health out the gate. And right now you have like a pretty low amount of health, like you die pretty quick. So we'll have to kind of tune it to see like how much health you should get. And like the coin number, we don't really know what the appropriate cost is going to be right now. But yeah, we'll start by implementing health. So it's going to be like gameplay code. There'll be like some UI stuff to get this yellow color here, because right now we just have the purple or like the pink implemented. And we have to get this health icon in there, and the word perk. Like in the current cards, they're all weapon, so we'll have to get perk in there. So there's kind of a few things like the icon, the title health, the perk, the coin cost, and the yellow. So those kind of four things will be like the UI side of it, and then we got to actually implement like the actual more health system. And we have kind of like an ammo, like we record how much ammo you have. So we'll use the ammo systems for the perks as well. It'll be applied to like your health points instead of like your actual ammo. So let's start with the UI. Let's start with the card of this thing. So kind of how that's going to work is like we have this. Make sure this is on screen. It is okay. So we have this UI loadout dialog. This is like our um, gear up page. Oh, I think yeah, to test it in here, I have to check this show on ready box. Yeah, so this is the weapons we kind of have. And I got to make that X not overlap that plus. But yeah, we want to add 4 more. So we want to add health, speed, damage, and +1 missile. And this +1 missile is going to be really powerful, I think. So the way that's going to be is in the first of all, these perks don't even exist right now. Like there is no concept of health, there is no concept of missile, speed, or damage. So the place to start there is like we have an enum inside this power up enum script. And this is not like magnificent software engineering or anything. Like we're just kind of hold on a second. Somebody just rang the doorbell. Oh, it's just a delivery. Bing bong. Thought maybe that was my new washing machine. On my last pair of underwear here, guys. But no, it's just some Amazon stuff. I'm kind of excited to see what it is. What is that? Well, anyways. What were we doing? Oh yeah, implementing more buffs and stuff. So it starts here. We have this power up enum. And this is the stuff we have in the game. We have the missile, the fat boy, which is code for the nuke, the mine, the jetpack, the shield, the gun, the triple shot, the builder, which is an interesting weapon, and water, which is like when you hit the water, and that's actually only used for the kill feed. Anybody gonna answer the door? Hold on, hold on. Is he still here? No, he's gone. Okay, don't worry about it. Just pushed the perk icons to the project. Perfect. Okay, so we'll pull those. Git pull. Perk ammo, perk damage, perk health, perk speed. Perk dash. Okay, so this is our first one, perk health. And that round background thing, like this thing, I guess we can put them in the square, but I think that round thing looks pretty good. Do we have that round thing in there, Ty? We might.
It's on its way.
On its way. Okay, so yeah, well, let's add health to this. Let's add all of them. Health. Maybe I'll call it perk health. Perk. What was the other ones? Perk damage. Perk ammo. Perk speed. And power-ups in loadout is gonna be power up dot perk health. All four of them here, and this is gonna add them to the loadout page. We iterate this list here to add those things, perk ammo and power up dot perk speed. And then this power up names, we'll need this power up dot perk health power up dot perk damage is damage power up dot perk ammo. This one's missile. Is this the right? Whatever. Just stick with the mock-up, right? Missile. And power up dot perk speed. I think that's just speed. Yeah. And yeah, so the other ones like power up types that can be in the crate. We probably do want to put the perks into the crate. Better put them in there. Maybe I'll put them in there later because I'm worried it's going to break a bunch of stuff until I have them more implemented. This num power-ups will probably have to be higher. And, maybe someday I'll wish I split power-ups and perks into two different types. This whole thing could probably be refactored. But also this UI, I have this UI power-up icon class that has this image map here. And I actually think this should be inside that other class that I was just looking at. 15 matches. Let's just keep it here. So we gotta map the power-ups that we just added. Perk, health. Just gonna start like this and add the four things. Perk health, perk ammo, perk damage, and perk speed to these things. So perk health, right click copy path, preload that. Perk ammo. Perk damage. And perk speed. Okay, so now when I load up this dialog, pretty sure I should see those in there just kind of at a basic level. Yeah. So now we have health, damage, missile, and speed using the purple and it says weapon. So we have to change that. And yeah, there's so many ways that this could be done, but speed of development is kind of the number one factor for us at this point. So to like change it from weapon to perk, this load up button, to change this piece of text, like weapon type, from loadout to perk, we probably want to have like a list of like, is this a weapon or is this a perk? And in like the power up enum, like I've kind of doing this in a weird way where like the power-ups are just an enum, and then there's no like I think that typical maybe a better way would be like you would have um, the power-ups would be like a dictionary, and it would be like power-up type dot missile would key to another dictionary, and you would have like type weapon uh, ammo type is like elixir name missile stuff like this would probably be better than what I am doing right now, where I've kind of like split all these things into different arrays. But you better believe I'm going to keep splitting them into different arrays. Ty just sent me the right yellow. That's sweet. I'm going to add another array. It's going to be power-ups that are perks. Const perks. Power-up dot perk ammo. Better do them in the same order. Just copy them. Perks. There we go. Const perk cost. Maybe double it. Okay, so now in the UI loadout button, which is the script for this thing, we can change the color to yellow and change weapon to perk if it's in that perks array. So Ty just sent me the right yellow, so let's add that yellow to our palette, which is inside this Tank King's UI swatch, which is a resource that holds a dictionary and has some other features for naming colors. This is all the colors we currently have named. Now, what do I name this yellow? What does yellow look like? Banana. Definitely banana. It's pretty close to burnt citrus, which I added here. Where's regular citrus? I guess I just have burnt citrus. Maybe this is citrus. So Ty sent me FFCD00, which is very close to this. Okay, banana. We'll just make it FFCD00. Enter. Man, that's really close to burnt citrus. Good enough. G0.8, G0.82. Ty, should I just use... Yeah, he's down for burnt citrus. Let's use burnt citrus. Although I really like the name banana for a color. So on UI loadout button, in the setter for set power up type, what I kind of did here is like when you change this power up type, like missile, it changes it to missile. Fatboy changes it to nuke. Mine changes it to mine. And that's in like a tool script setter, um, which is a pretty nice pattern. To get it to work, like bulletproof, you kind of have to do a few GDScript hacks with like a init, like getting these on readies to link properly can be kind of annoying, but I do it with this setter, so it calls this refresh function when you change the power up type, which applies those things. So the weapon type label, which I think looks like I don't have it synced, or I don't have it stored in the on readies here. So we want to start with this one. So I'm going to copy the path for weapon type, copy node path, and we're going to add an on ready var weapon type label. It's kind of power up type label because weapon is the value. Power up type label equals $ this as label. And then we're going to do if the power up type is in that list of perks, so in power up type dot perks dot contains or has power up type, then weapon type label or power up type label dot text equals perk. Else it's weapon. And someday we'll have a localization system to not hard code strings like this in there. But that is not today. So that's going to change it from perk to weapon. Now we just have to change the colors. So this weapon type, this is going to be, this will have the color applied to it, and this top panel will have the color applied to it. I think I just colored this top panel. How did I color this? I colored it with a style box flat with BG color. So these style boxes, these things about these resources in Godot, you kind of don't know, like this resource, even though it's just in the inspector here, like not saved to disk, like it could be referenced in multiple places. So changing the color here could change it in multiple places, but it's not going to on this one, but it's theoretically possible. So I'll put that back to what it was. I want to see if this color is in our color dictionary. It looks like lilac, E776FF. This is not the same. Okay, I'm gonna add this. Actually, let's see. Okay, it's down there. E776FF. Enter. That's pretty close. I don't think Ty is gonna hate that if I go with that. And weapon, this is a different color here, I believe. What is this? I should have added all this stuff. Oh, this is the same as it was before. So this could be E E776FF. Yeah, that's pretty close. If I change it from the design, is he gonna notice? It's pretty close. Let's put him back. Let's just use his color. Might have to add that color to this library. Actually, it's grape. Is this the same? Let's go new color. Purple. It's kind of a boring name. It's good enough. Click there. Um, yeah, new color. It's just purple. So now I want to have these, I'm going to apply, like these colors, I just kind of hard coded into custom colors here. So I'm going to like undo that. So back to white weapon. I'm going to add the swatched label, which is my uh, node type that controls the color of the label of its parent based on this swatch. So I can put that swatch in there and put purple on it, and it'll apply it there. So now I can change the color of this by changing this color name. And I'm going to do the similar thing to the top panel here, but this one's going to be a little different. I have to change this BG. I'm going to do it with like modulate. So I'm going to change this BG color to um, white. And then I'm going to change the color to like via this modulate, self-modulate tag. So I'm going to add the swatched modulate component. And I like to put my blank components to the top, drag the swatch there and put purple on it. There we go. So now our colors are controlled by strings, which is nice because you don't have to change it on each node. And I'm gonna do this like I'm gonna add I'll just do it with an if statement. No data type for this. I'll just be like if it's a perk change, I gotta reference these modulate components. So I'll copy the path for the top panel's color, top panel swatched modulate. And I'll be like on ready var. I'll just call it, you know what? We're just gonna call it exactly that. Top panel swatched modulate equals $ this as swatched modulate. And we're gonna have another one for the swatched label. Copy node path. On ready var weapon type or power up type label swatcher. Maybe swatcher is the right word. As swatched label. You know what? Let's call it swatched label instead of swatcher. So now in here, if it's a perk, it's the yellow, which is burnt citrus. So let's go like this. Color, color name equals purple. If it's perk, color name is burnt citrus. And We can apply it to this one. So color name is color name, and top panel swatched modulate color name is color name. So now we should have the colors. Booyah. We could change the costs from, I think they all the costs are gonna be different for like every single power up, every single item. Like right now they're all 5, and we're gonna have to refactor that at some point to be more unique. Can I not hit plus on this? There might be something over top of these. What the? Like clicking. There's something. Yeah, there's something consuming my click on this. Bottom buttons. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Hmm. Now if I go to the main game, let's see if that still happens. Yeah, there's something you can see on my, I don't have a hover state. Like I can only click the top half of this button, but not up here. So it's like on this row. I think there's something in Godot that'll tell me like when I'm clicking. I think it's this thing. Show a list of all objects at the position clicked. So if I go here, click there, bottom buttons and UI button up. So this bottom buttons thing, I mean, if I change this to mouse ignore, mouse pass seems correct, but I'll change it to mouse ignore and we'll see. We'll see if that fixes that. No, I'm still clicking on something else. So it's probably in this UI loadout dialog. That's like around here. Dialog root, color rect, and panel. I need this like during gameplay to show me what I'm clicking on, like who's absorbing the click. Clip content. Clip content's gonna have ignore for sure. Dialog root is gonna have ignore for sure. Color rect is this thing. He's on ignore. And panel. Panel is on ignore. So I'm not too sure what I'm clicking on here. Tear, rip, pass, change it to ignore. Bottom BG is already on ignore. Yeah, I wonder if there's a utility where I can see what I'm clicking on at runtime. Hmm. Yeah, it's just like right down here. Like I can click on the top part of these buttons and not the bottom. Okay. There's like so little in here. Now, is there a utility that I can see what I've clicked on? Input. Hmm. Is it part of viewport? Something to do with control in here? No. It would kind of be part of the input, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm clicking on something. If I add more stuff, I'm gonna add more stuff to this dialog so I can test and see if it's UI loadout dialog, create buttons. Let's just add another set. Just create the buttons again. So now I can like scroll down. Yeah, it's definitely not something in the scroll container. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It needs something to tell me what I've clicked on so I can get rid of that thing. Let's get rid of this second one. You know what? Debugging's kind of boring and we're on stream, so let's keep implementing these buffs. Let's ignore the thing that I can't click on right there. I do think the cost is kind of important, like how these have different costs and everything else, but let's go right to the gameplay side of it. If you have that round icon tie, maybe I better pull, see if he pushed it. Yeah, perk button. There we go. Perk dash button. So we got to change the background for this this thing. In the case that whether it's a weapon or a perk, I could probably do it in here. I think this has like a refresh as well. Right there, icon.texture. That applies to this texture rect. Changes this. I'll make it change itself too. So this will be like actually it'll be on the self, so we don't need a node path. But it's going to be if it is a perk, if power up type or if yeah, power up type dot perks dot has power up type. And I'll add the else pass. Then self dot texture is this. Better do preload. And else it's whatever it currently is, which is item button. Copy path. Now what's interesting is in the game we have this UI power up icon, which has a few other tools. So I think I want to apply that same if statement to this one so that in the game we have the circles as well. So I think I just need to copy this, go into this script, and paste that. These two classes are kind of code cloned because one has a few more features than the other one, but that is fine. So now when I go to this loadout dialog, we're going to have, yeah, we have the round icon. I can tell the filter's not enabled on that texture import. It looks a little aliased. So we'll go to the import settings for this perk button. And oh, filter is enabled. Does item button have mipmaps enabled? No, they have the same settings. One definitely looks worse than the other. Are they like the similar size? I think they might just be like really big. Perk button. It is pretty big. Looks so good in here though. I bet you if I enable mipmaps on these, it's gonna look better. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, it looks better. Maybe a little blurry. That's pretty good. Okay, so this dialogue is in pretty good state. One thing that's weird is when you hit the plus on this thing, you get like +1 and then the X1, which is a little odd. I only have 5 coins right now, so I can only buy one of them. But to implement these should be fairly quick. Like we got all the infrastructure written. The only thing is I have to like store these somewhere and actually apply them to the player. So we got to like increase the player's health. We're gonna have to store, or we're gonna have to utilize their damage. Like when we calculate the damage, we're gonna have to apply it. This missile +1 is gonna be pretty easy. And the speed, when we drive the tank, we'll have to apply that. So let's do the missile +1. Let's start with that one. So now this missile thing, like in the game, when you play the game, you have 3 missiles. Like down at the bottom, you start with 3 missiles, and these like never change. Like you always have 3, and nice, good shot. So we just have to change that 3. You know, we have to add how many of those perks you got to that 3 when we like instantiate the player, and then that'll be it. And I'm pretty sure the layout for that's gonna work. Like having 4 missiles, it should look good and everything still. Can't make this shot. Yes. Nice. Go get those coins. Triple. Only one other guy left. Where are you? I can hear him on my right. He's gonna water himself. The bots are so dumb. Let's blow up his little terrain. Actually, let's go get him. Die, dude. Yes! I am the Tank King. We gotta make these missiles skip on the water. Like in Worms. Sometimes this little charge thing doesn't go away. It drives me nuts because I've like looked at the code for it like so many times. And I'm like, looks good. Code looks good. And we're in the local game right now. Like there's no network stuff too, so it's not the fault of the network. Okay, so adding more missiles should be pretty quick. We just got to do it in the right place. So in the tank game, the actual game class, we have like an apply loadout. Um, yeah, so right here, all it does is, right now, like it's implemented for weapons. So it kind of iterates the loadout and sets your ammo for each weapon. Now for the missile, the initial missile, it's kind of like the weapon that everybody has. And it like defaults to 3. Like we just have a 3 in here, ammo missiles. And this is how you get missiles. Now what's interesting is if we like to do these perks, probably gonna do them like in a similar way. Like there's gonna be like a theoretical ammo for how many health perks you have, how many of these missile perks you have, how many of these speed perks you have, and how many of these damage perks you have. The thing about the missile one is your number of missiles you have is going to be like 3 plus this. And that 3 is not anywhere in the game right now. Like it's literally right here. This is it. So I think what we want to kind of do is we got to kind of just treat this a little differently. Let's see how ammo missiles is used. Yeah, it's used in your like quote unquote elixir calculation. And like the elixir is how it charges up. Like when you shoot a missile, it's like it goes, I only have 1 now, and then it charges. And it plays a little ding when you've charged up a unit. So it's actually kind of complicated because it's based on how many you have. So what we could do, like really what we could do that'd be simple is in apply loadout, we could do something like this. We can have like an if power up is the missile. Power up type dot. Oh wait, yeah. So perk, or no. Power up type dot power up dot perk ammo. We could treat it differently, right? Like we could treat just this one perk different in this one spot. And we could go like this. Set ammo for the missile to 3+ amount, like that. And that's going to make it so when you have the ammo perk, you get 3+ that number of perks for your missiles. And let's test that. So this apply loadout is kind of like it's linked to like you can see like on server player authenticated. Like it's linked to the net like the cloud account system and the like game server networking system. So testing it in this environment is a little bit more complicated because to test it all locally, I'd have to run the account system locally and run all the game server stuff locally. And I already know that all those layers work. I already know that the account system for the loadout works and the game server networking stuff for the loadout works. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to like call apply loadout with a loadout that I want to test at the start of this game, just for testing purposes. So I'm going to go to this. We have this kind of test, like this thing here. And let's see, start game. No, that's all good. We're gonna like add another line here. Apply loadout for my local player UUID, which is 1. I want to make sure this is not duplicated. Yeah. Okay, so apply loadout for UUID 1. Oh, tank player. Yeah, I have to reference the tank player. So I'll copy my local player's node path. Apply loadout for him, and I gotta make my little mock dictionary here. So I know that the loadout dictionary uses string keys. Power type dot power up dot perk ammo, and we'll say you have one of them. So that's gonna test having one ammo perk. So if I hit play, yeah, I have 4 missiles now. And that's like what you would get if you bought the ammo perk. And what's interesting is the beep goes higher, like higher pitch now. Like we have a 4th tone. And I never actually tested those, so like if you have like 5 of those, we'll have to see how high pitched that gets. Also, is this like center aligned? I think it is. I think that is the middle. But let's try with like 10. And now we're gonna hear a really high pitched ding. Oh yeah. Sounds like water dripping. It's like completely stopped making any noise. If I shot a ton of these, like you can see how OP that is. I might have to... We might have to change the sound, like the ding for this, but... Like I'm using the pitch scale on that. And you can, with ammo per missile, look at that, you can just fly around. I think that's pretty sweet. Takes a long time to charge. Look at this. Let's get that mine. The mine's a tough one, like the tough weapon to balance. Like, I think I gotta buff the mine even more. Boom. One thing I want to do is like right now if you like blow up 2 mines, like it's the same explosion just from the location of each mine, right? But it would be cool if they like stacked, like as a mine blew up, it should add explosion to like everything, like a fireball or something. That'd be pretty tough to implement though. Anyways, we got the ammo buff implemented. The only thing wrong with this, like, it's probably OP, but we'll make that better with like the coin cost and the the sound, like the ding it's playing, is like really high pitched. Like it's like so high pitched you like can't even hear it anymore. But that's okay. We'll figure that out by changing the sound file or something like that. So the next perk, we got this one done. The cost, we still gotta refactor the cost to be like unique per each power up. Let's do the health. So again, apply loadout. We'll have to change this health here. So like health starts at 1.0 and that's kind of it. Like the health starts at 1 and it goes down to 0 and that's how you die. So what we got to do to increase the health, first of all, the health gets reset to 1 here when you die in the lobby. So if you're in the lobby and the server updating, then when you die, it resets your health to 1.0. And like what I'm thinking for this health perk is like if we increase this 1.0 to like 2.0, then it's like you got double the health. But 1.0 is kind of supposed to mean like full health. So we could go like health is equal to like max health is 1.0 times the amount of health perks you have plus 1. That could be how the max health is calculated. The other way we can do higher health is when you subtract health, you subtract less health if you have health perk. There's kind of 2 ways to go about it. So that's why I kind of want to look at the usages of health to see which one is easier to do. Oh yeah, Smash Force. We have this like Super Smash Bros. Style, like you get pushed more if you have lower health. And again, this 1.0 denotes max health. And right here, this is where we subtract the health. There's only one place that we subtract the health. Explode players. So it's gonna be possible, like if we want to change, if we want 1.0 to mean max health, we can maintain that. We just have to change the subtraction here based on how many health perks you have. But the other thing too is we want the health bar to be bigger when you have that health perk. So we have like a little health bar here. You can see like under my name is like a green bar. And if right now it like barely comes into play because the missiles do so much damage, you typically die in one shot. Let's see if I can damage this guy. I think I might have just damaged him a bit. Shoot the triple, yeah, and I killed him. Yeah, so but we can tweak the amount of damage so that we can see the health more. So I'm gonna implement this by instead of increasing like making 1.0 like making a higher number than 1.0 mean max health, I'm going to implement this by subtracting less. And 1.0 will always mean max health. I think that's the right way to do it. The only implication is when we render the health bar, we need more information than just health. We need health and the number of health perks that you have. So if I wanted health to, like if I want health to be, if I want to do it the other way, like max health is 1.0 plus the number of health perks you have, then I have to change it when you initialize the players, which is pretty doable. I guess it's just 2 places. Maybe that's easier. It's kind of 3 places. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it that way. Health is no longer 1.0 is no longer max health. Max health is 1.0 plus the number of health perks you have. Let's do it like that. I think that makes more sense. So, right, we're gonna have to start with storing the number of health perks that each player has. And we use this like export to be like a network synchronized variable. So I'm going to call this, I'll call it perks health equals 0. Then we got to apply this to the health. So in apply loadout, yeah, we do need to store this because like let's say when I apply the loadout, I just increase the health, like change the health to 10. As the health is subtracted, like you get shot down to 1. We still need to know that you had 10 health perks. So we do have to store this perks health in addition to health, which is here. So in now to there's a couple ways I have to do this. One is in this ammo thing. We have this get ammo and set ammo. I'm gonna set the health perk networked variable based on the power up index that goes in here. So this is going to be perk power up type dot power up dot perk health. And then I'm going to go ammo health or perks health equals ammo. And I got to return it in another thing as well. This reset all seems a little iffy. Return perks health. So that'll allow us to change this perks health variable based on the power up type enum. So we can do get ammo for power up type and set ammo for power up type and increment ammo for power up. So now in tank games apply loadout. This is actually just gonna work. Like we're gonna hit the perk health. We're gonna call set ammo for power up. It's gonna be the perk health, and this will be like 1 or whatever. And it's gonna do perks health equals that. So now what we have to do is increment the health, like the actual health value. And what's interesting is, do we have to do that in apply loadout, or will that happen like when the player's initialized? Like what's the order of operations here? So in init, I know that in this init player starts, like this happens when the game's about to start, that we have to change it's going to do health 1.0 right here. And this has to be plus however many health perks you have. And you know how much this would double your health. Like you buy like 1 health perk, you would double your health. But let's go to, we kind of have this class where we're storing a bunch of constants. So I'm gonna add const. Yeah, that's good here. I'll call it health per health perk equals, let's say 0.5. So it's like you buy a health perk and you get half, like increases your health by 1.5 or by 0.5. So now this has to happen. So we do this here, init player starts. There's like a lobby, like in the lobby, we have to apply this as well. And this is gonna be, there's definitely this spot here. You know what? Let's abstract this little addition. Let's go into the tank player and let's add a function called max health, get max health. And it's going to return a float and it's going to be 1.0 plus the amount of perks I have to that. And let's go back here. And so when you die in the lobby, you go back to your max health. And I gotta do that here again. So when you initialize the tank, you go back to your max health. Now what's interesting is when you load up the game, the server has to query the loadout. So there's like an asynchronous query there. Like it's gonna be like player is connected, get the loadout for that player from the account system. And I'm not sure because I just implemented this, but I believe there's like the player's gonna join the game before its loadout is known. And then the loadout's gonna there's actually a bunch of factors. There's like the player connects to the server puts the tank into the game. Sorry, there's more to it than that. There's like the matchmaker tells the game server that a player is connected. The game server puts the player into the game. The actual human player connects to the game server and takes control of that tank, and the server asks the account system what that tank's loadout is and then applies the loadout. So there's like many asynchronous factors involved. And what matters here is there could be a problem if a player connects to a game server and takes control of that tank before the game server has retrieved its loadout. Then the player goes and gets shot and loses health, and then the game server applies the loadout and increases his health back to like a higher number. That would be a weird race condition. Now, theoretically, that would only ever happen in the lobby and probably isn't that important. Um, because, somebody, like a very weird edge case where a player gets shot and then he has more health afterwards. I think that's theoretically possible, but it's such a weird edge case that it probably really doesn't matter. So what this really means is in apply loadout, I think I can probably like increase the health right here if it's a health perk in their loadout. But what I do want to check here is because apply loadout's like on server player authenticated. Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's like very unlikely that the human is going to connect to the game server before the game server has retrieved its loadout. It's very unlikely. So we have this init lobby player. What I want to know is when does this get called? So this happens when this is going to happen before a player is connected to it and before the game server has retrieved the guy's loadout. And we don't want to retrieve their loadout until they've connected. So this is all very complicated stuff. But ultimately, what this means is in apply loadout, if you've got a health perk, then we're just going to reset your health. Tank player dot health equals tank player dot get max health. And what this is going to do is in the lobby, there's going to be a brief period where a tank is going to be instantiated, the loadout query is in flight, and there's a race condition between whether this tank player dot health applies or the human has connected to that tank. But the only way that this race condition would have any impact on the user experience is if this loadout query takes so long that a human connects to the tank, starts playing, takes damage, and then this health is applied. That's the only case, the only scenario that it would have an impact at all, and that scenario seems extremely unlikely. It's far more likely that our game server will retrieve the loadout before the player takes damage. So we have to do this. So this is going to record the perk, and this is going to apply the perk. Okay, so that's actually almost the entire health perk implemented. There's like what 4 lines of code or something, but it's obviously complicated. And there's this race condition which I hope never happens. And like the way that this would be, like basically you could check for it, like with we could log something like if health is less than 1.0, then like print a error or something. Like this would be like race condition manifested. But this is like extremely unlikely. But I should probably print something because maybe the game succeeds and 2 years from now this happens and some junior programmer who didn't write this game has to figure out what the problem is. That would be hard for them. Be hard for me to remember this too. Like tomorrow, probably forget about this. So let's log this thing. Let's do wp log error, which is our custom logging thing, and let's say tank game health was applied, or health perk was applied after damage was taken. And we better write a comment here and say the loadout, somehow the player took damage before the loadout query finished. And again, this would be in the lobby, so like it's not gonna really affect gameplay or like affect the competitiveness of the game. But we'll put that comment there. Maybe we better log which player to player %s tank player dot uuid. Okay, so that's health perk, and let's test it here. This is my little mock data, apply mock data class. And let's say you have 10 health perks, which is a lot. And the bots are so stupid, they're probably not going to shoot me. So I'm going to make it so I can friendly fire myself. Explode missile. When it calls explode players, this false is friendly fire. I'm going to change it to true so I can actually shoot myself. So I should basically not die when I shoot myself. That's how I'll know it works. When I shoot the ground. Yeah, it did. Did that do friendly fire at all? I don't think it did. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it did. I just had a boatload of health, which is good. But yeah, and then I killed myself. Maybe that's more fun. Is that more fun? Friendly fire? Now, basically, what's going on there is this health meter is coded as if max health is 1.0. And that's why when I shoot myself at first, nothing happens to the health meter because it's going from like 10.0 to like 8.0. But that's still greater than 1.0. So the health meter doesn't do anything until the last 1.0, and then it goes down. So I have to change the health meter to know about the new max health. So I'm going to go to tank player. This is like the first scene made in the game. It's got some old school patterns. But here's the health bar. It's a texture progress. You can see max value. Oh, step one. Yeah, this is in default Godot as a step one. I'm gonna actually change it to step 0 and max value 1. And then we're just gonna have to change the scripting for this guy. And health dash bar is gonna be in the renderer for this thing. Health dash bar. Yeah, right here. This dot value thing. Health times 100. So we're gonna get rid of that times 100 because we're just using 1.0 as max now. And this guy's going to be divided by self.tankPlayer.get max health. So this actually, that function we wrote earlier, that's proven to be useful. And this is actually, I think that's it. I think that's the whole health feature now. Should be functional. So when I shoot the ground, yeah, we saw that go down. We saw the damage get applied. Oh, look at that. I have like 0 health. And then we kill myself. So that is health. Now the damage numbers and like the amount of health you're getting, all of that stuff is probably needs to be tweaked. Like at some point we cranked the damage, so it was like 1 hit kills. And we'll tweak that throughout development. So now we have health and we have +1 missile implemented. So now let's do speed. And this one's going to be, I think, perhaps the easiest to implement. And that's going to be tank player. We're going to need to add the ammo, the network synchronized perk speed value. And we got to add it to our getter and setter. Now, one day many years ago, I wrote a C++ template to like generate these getters and setters. And like when you see this, like some tier of programmer looks at this switch statement and says like, look at all that code cloning. What's wrong with that? Oh, perk. Perks? Perk or perks? Let's do perk. 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 Yeah, some tier programmer looks at these switch statements and is like, man, look at all that code cloning. Look at all that potential for inconsistency, like potential for bugs. Let's write some super fancy Kotlin script or Kotlin function to generate this switch statement or some C++ template. And yeah, that's cute. It's nice to do that kind of stuff, but gotta ask yourself, is it really worth it? And in GDScript, I don't even think you could do that. Actually, you could. You could probably do it. You would be like, you could map, well, if you could in GDScript, like get this enum name, you could map it to a property directly, probably, like automatically set the property. But anyways, I digress. Oh, look at that. I totally wrote a bug while I was trying to explain that. Which is exactly what I was talking about. Perk health equals ammo. That would be tough to debug. Perk speed equals ammo. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to have the speed perk recorded, and all we have to do is apply it. And we have this value called drive. And when you apply input, it changes your drive float, like left or right. And this parachute thrust, I don't even think we want this anymore. I can delete that. I don't know. Should I delete that? Should probably delete it in its own commit so that we can detect it. Yeah, this parachute thrust is a remnant of a long lost time when we would parachute out of the chopper. But I'm gonna Come back to that. I'm gonna fix that another day. To apply the speed perk, it's all gonna be right here. Constant drive force is no longer constant. This is like gradient, it gets rotated here. So you drive along the normal of the terrain. Now this is kind of, what? Oh no, that's right. Yeah, okay. Rotate the drive variable along the terrain and then apply a central impulse. At one point we applied torque, like you spun, like the tank's like a circle and you would spin around the terrain, but now you just apply a central impulse. So we had some issue with spin and friction, network syncing things. But apply central linear impulse. This just has to be multiplied by the perk of speed. And we're gonna want it to be like there's gonna have to be a factor, like a scalar on this. So it's gonna be something like, you know what, let's call this drive force. Drive force is and this gradient, it's not really the gradient anymore, it's like the drive direction. Drive direction. And I'm gonna put the rotated right on there. Same line. And drive force is going to be drive direction. So it's going to be the constant drive force plus, oh, oh man, drive force plus tank player or player dot perk speed times some scalar value, which I'll put into tank game data dot uh, perk speed drive scalar, drive factor, drive scale. Perk speed drive scale. So now we'll go to tank game data and const. Where did I put that health thing? I put it in here. I want to put this next to it. Health per health perk. Const. This should be like speed per. Maybe I'll call it speed per speed perk. I don't know. Naming stuff. It's going to be way higher than 1.0, I think. Rename that thing. So this should vector 2. Uh-oh. Which one's a vector 2? Drive forces. Okay, yeah. So this constant drive force. Oh, I have to do the plus there. You know what? Let's do it like this. Drive speed. Okay, let's command Z some of these things. We're going to split this into two variables. Full screen this whole thing. Drive speed is the drive force, which is misnamed, plus this value. And then drive force is drive speed times direction. And I'll do drive direction times drive speed. And let's not even make drive force. Let's just put it into the impulse call. Now this tank player.constant drive force is probably one of the first things I did. I got a bunch of constants in here. So kind of cute. Constant drive force, whatever, let's keep it there. 30. So that's how much force you drive with. So if you buy a speed perk, should it be like 35, 40? 40 is probably a lot. Maybe 35. So let's do 5. So in tank game data, the speed per speed perk will be 5. And now let's test that. So go to my mock data and add perk speed 1. So if you have 1 speed, how fast do you drive? I don't think I applied that in apply loadout, did I? Actually, it's gonna apply automatically because it will not be an ammo perk. It won't be a health perk. It'll be a regular thing, which will call set ammo for power up with perk speed. Set perk speed to ammo. Make sure that getter is right. It is. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Hit play. I should drive faster now. Oh, you fall so slow. Yeah, I believe that's faster. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. But tank game data, let's just give myself more speeds. Let's give myself 5 speed perks, and we'll see how fast I go. It's gonna be pretty fast, I think. Yeah, we're ripping. Look at that. Holy. I am the tank king. Maybe friendly fire is the way to go. Let's see what 2 speed perks looks like. Oh, damn it. That seems pretty fast. That might be fast. Oh my goodness. Oh, health perk saved me. We're rolling. I can't click on this victory UI. I can't shoot through it. Okay, so is that too fast? I want to see what 20 does. Like the way force and damping interact is always kind of interesting. Oh yeah, we're zipping. Can't hit me. Imagine this playing like this. Oh, that guy was pretty close. Better believe I'm the tank king. Okay, well that was 20 perks. That's a lot. Let's go back to 0 and just see what the... Gotta clear our palette. See if the falls that... See, this is normal driving. And it's purposefully slow so that you can't like dodge everything. It feels so slow right now. Okay, let's see what one speed perk does. I gotta refresh my memory here. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Feels like a reasonable amount of perk. This is 2 speed perks. Like that's pretty fast. Maybe it's a little fast, but we'll tune it over time. I'm gonna call that good. So there's only one more perk to do. And that is the Damage, the damage perk. And the way we're thinking of doing this is like increasing the radius, like explosion radius, which will have the side impact of increasing the damage because you'll be closer to the center. Like right now, the way the damage works is like missile blows up and your distance between you and the missile controls how much you get damaged. So if you're at like 0.1 or something, it's like max damage, and if you're at the max distance of the radius, then you get 0 damage. Um, so this one will be a little bit harder than speed probably to implement, but not too bad. So we're going to go back to tank player. We're going to add another networked variable for this thing. So it'll be like export var perk damage equals 0. And let's add the getter and setter thing. Perk damage. Return perk damage. Oh, and set. Set perk damage. Okay. Now the apply loadout is already going to set this thing. So that's going to be set to the right value. And all we got to do is use it. So in tank game, we have like explode missile, and there's a few different explode functions. There's explode missile, explode player, or explode mine. I think that is there. Okay, explode missile, explode mine. Is that the two explode types? There might just be these two things. Let's see. Whoever calls explode players. Yeah, two of them. So there's explode missile, and this applies to the nuke and the missile. And there's explode mine. So we'll increase the damage from the mine and the nuke and the missile if you have the mine perk, or sorry, the damage perk. So let's start with that scalar value. I always have to write that. So we'll go radius per damage perk. Radius scale. It'll probably be like a float. Um, 1.2. So it'd be like your your explosion is 1.2 times the default every time you have this perk. So if you had two of them, 2 times 1.2, it would be 2.4. Because I think it'll stack. Yeah, it'll stack like that. So now we just got to use this scalar at these two locations. So in explode missile's a little more complicated because um, that in full screen because it handles the nuke and the missile and the builder, which is a weapon that does the opposite of the missiles. It like adds to the terrain. But I think I commented this out of the GPU shader, so it doesn't do anything right now. But the builder's pretty cool. But I'll show you guys that someday. So yeah, we want to increase the explosion radius based on the perk. So we'll go like, uh, where's the tank? We need the tank who owns this missile. Okay, missile has tank emitter ID. This is an object ID, I believe. Yeah, it's not a UUID. So we got to get the tank who owns. See, this is actually this is a bit of a problem because we want to do get tank or get player for object ID for who owns this missile. Missile dot tank emitter ID. And we want to be like tank player dot perk damage. We want to say that the explosion radius is like plus equals or no equals explosion radius times perk damage times tank game data dot damage radius scale per damage perk. This is it, right? Like this is the whole feature. And I'm actually for the missiles anyways, and then I do it for the mines. But and I'm pretty sure this would work if I tested it. But there's a problem, very interesting problem. So if I go here and I add this damage perk damage, and I say that I have like 10 of them. Now we should shoot pretty big missiles. Like they should blow up a lot of stuff. And they're totally not doing that. Look at that. What the heck was that? Okay, it is actually a huge explosion, but it is not damaging the terrain with a huge explosion. That's what's happening. And that is because explosion radius is not explosion radius. Explosion radius is the damage radius, not the terrain destruction radius. Okay, let's go up here and let's take this tank player get right there, and this value here is going to be the damage perk scalar equals perk damage times should this be perk damage plus 1? Because if we multiply by that, when you have 0 perk damage, it's going to, yeah, this has to be a plus. This is interesting. I think it's going to be perk damage plus 1. Mm, I'm actually confused on how to do this. Because if we have, okay, let's open up a notepad here, or VS Code. And okay, so if the explosion radius default is, let's say 100, just to make it simple, and the you have damage perks equal, let's say you have 10 of them, just to make it simple. The and radius per damage perk. I kind of want this to be a scalar, not like a constant number. So I want it to be like 1.1. So the final explosion radius is going to be like explosion radius. Let's call this E, D, and R. Oh, don't save. So the final explosion radius is like E. Well, I could do like E plus. Yeah, I think this is the way to do it. E plus D times E times R. I think that's what it is. So then in this case, it would be 100 plus 10 times 100 times 1.1. That's that's way too high, isn't it? Damage perks 10. Okay, so calc 10 times 100 times 1.1. That doesn't seem right. 1100. You had 10 damage perks. You would be doing 1100 radius. That's not right. Yeah, what about if you had 1 damage perk? Maybe that is reasonable. It'd be a 1 times 100 times 1.1, 110. But this is 100 plus, so it'd be like 210. It'd be like over double. That's not right. It's definitely not plus. Is it just D times E times R equals 1 times 100 times 1.1? I think it's like, oh, it's like a power. Maybe I do it like that. Maybe it's E times D, or E times R to the D. I think that's actually the calculation. Because if the default explosion radius is 100, 100 times 1.1 to the perk, then if this was 0, it would be 100, which is correct. And if it's 2, 1.1 times 1.1, 1.21 times 100, 121. So if you have 2 of them, it's that. 100 times 1.1 is 110. Yeah, this makes sense. 100 times 1.1 to the 1 equals 110. So that's the calculation. E times R to the D. So the damage perk scalar is R to the D. Is radius, it's pow of this to the amount of perks you have. Tank player dot damage perks. Damage perk. Is that what it is? Perk damage. Why is that not auto-completing? Yeah, delete that. That's the right number, right? Yeah. So this is gonna work, but I have to change it for the networking. There's gonna be a networking problem with this, which I'll explain as soon as I get this functioning. So damage perk scalar. If I multiply, to get this to work, I need the explosion radius. I just multiply this. Explosion radius times equals damage perk scalar. So now we should have a pretty huge missile explosion. Yeah, just blows up that whole thing. Boom. That's sweet. And the damage radius is even bigger. Like it's like pushing me slightly. And the friendly fire is gonna kill me eventually. Yeah. So the damage radius seems way bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Oh, and that's because I'm still applying it down here. I gotta delete that. I was like doing that twice. And the friendly fire I gotta take off for this testing. So this is like huge damage radius. Yeah, that's I think correct. Yeah, okay. Now how many perks did I give myself there? That was a lot. 10. That was like 10 damage perks. Let's see one. This is one damage perk. It's like not even noticeable. Give myself 3. Maybe that power function's too exponential. Yeah, this isn't, I mean, it's not crazy. 3, it's like, it's bigger. Like that's the bot's explosion size. And that's 3 damage perks. I think I just lower the amount a bit, like the raw scale, this to 1.1, 1.15 maybe. And I better see what the nuke does. If I go to tank player, you know what, let's give myself nukes in the loadouts. Give myself 10. So this is 3 damage perks nuke. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. Damage perks are subtle. They might even be too small now. But I gotta apply the same thing to the mine. Tank game. Tank games mine. So this calculation, maybe I should abstract this into another function on the player. I think I better do that. Tank player. Next to my get max health, I'll be like func get damage scalar. Load. Return that. Okay, so now I'll go back here and we'll use tank player.get damage scalar. And same thing on the mine. But here's the problem. This get player for object ID can fail on the client. Because if you get shot by somebody who's like off screen, you don't know about that player's existence. Like in our game, you only get sent data for players who are like within the screen boundary. So if you get shot by somebody who's off screen, this get player for object ID is going to give you null. It's gonna give you null, and then you're not gonna know the perks that that player shot at you with. Like the perk that he had when he shot that missile is inaccessible to you. So the server, which I'm like when I hit play here in this scene, I am the server, so I always know the details for every player. But in the actual game, you won't be able to predict the size of the explosion because you don't know, you don't have data for that player's off screen. So it would probably work most of the time because most of the time you get shot by somebody on screen. But if a missile comes flying in from way away, you're not going to know how big the explosion has to be. So we're going to have to copy this damage perk onto the missile, or we can copy the damage scaler onto the missile. So we got to go to tank and the mine too, for that matter. So we actually have to change this a little bit. We got to go into the missile, and we have to add a float here. First of all, what's missile magnitude? Oh, the sound? What? Oh, that's the force that you shot it with. Seems a little strange. Why do I need this? Missile magnitude. Hmm. Maybe I don't need this synced variable, but I'll leave that there. Okay, so we're going to have damage scalar equals 0.0, 1.0, yeah, 1.0, the default value. And when you shoot the missile, we have to apply it, we have to calculate damage scalar not at the moment of explosion, but at the moment of shoot. So when a player shoots, we create a new missile right here. And this is where we apply the tank missile dot damage scalar equals player dot get damage scalar. And we gotta do this for the mine as well. Tank mine export var damage scalar 1.0. And when you shoot the mine, which I think is in the same function, yeah, right here, tank mine dot damage scalar equals that. And now when you explode the missile, we don't get player for object ID and calculate it there. We get it right off the missile. So missile dot damage scalar. So that's pretty simple change. Just do it like that. And then we'll do the same thing in the mine. So like explode mine. Tank. Where's the radius? Explosion radius is right there. So this is gonna be explosion radius times tank mine dot damage scalar. Okay, so that's gonna be it. So I believe it's all gonna still work, but this time it'll work over the network more. So we actually synchronize more data. Like now the missile is containing the perk of the guy who shot it. So we duplicate that data so that it can be always accessible to the person who needs it. Yeah, so I can tell those are bigger explosions than the default. I kind of want some mines to make sure the mine damage scalar works. So I'll add that to my loadout, my test loadout, so that I can try it out. So let's shoot some mines. They should explode bigger now. Yeah, that's pretty big. Yeah, that's huge. Whoa, that's really big. Maybe that's too big. And this guy's gonna explode pretty big too. Yeah. So that's 3 perk damages. Maybe my POW function is too big on this thing, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's not quite right. Like in tank player, get damage scalar, radius scale per damage perk, power to the perk damage. I think that's right. I think this value is just too high. I think it needs to be 1.1. Maybe we gotta tweak it per, like the mine would do a different thing than the other stuff. Oh man, that guy hit me. That's still pretty big. Okay, what does the default mine look like? Like if I have 0 perk damages, what does this look like now? That's the nuke, and this is the mine. I mean, it's pretty big, I guess. It's maybe 1.1 too big on the. Let's go tank game data. Okay, well, I had this at 3, right? So like 3 to the 1 point, or 1.1 to the 3. 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1. 1.333 times 300. 399. So yeah, that's actually huge, man. That's huge. Like exponential function is enormous because that's like 30% more. Over 30%. No, that's 30%, 33% more. Mine explosion. That's pretty big. But like 1.1 times 300, not that big. So I actually think this maybe shouldn't be a POW. I'm yeah, tank player. This function, I think, does it just be times? See, the problem with this, is like, well, first of all, when you hit, it's gonna scale more clearly, right? Like each layer, each perk will only add an absolute value to the actual damage radius, but I have to figure out that's 0. Like if you have 0 perk damage, this is going to be 0, and then it's going to zero out the value completely. So it has to be and then if this is +1, it's always going to scale it up with that value. It could be like I could just do this. If perk damage equals 0, return 1.0. Else return, oops, this. I think this might be the way to go. And then this radius scale, maybe 1.1 still good. So because the mine does 300 damage. So now if you have 3 perks, 3 if you have 3 perk damage, it's gonna be 3 times 1.1, 3.3 times 300. No, that's not right either. Oh, now instead of 1.1, it's got to be like 0.1. So that is that right? No, that's not right. 1.1. It's gonna be 1.1 times 3. No, that's way too much. Then it's gotta be plus? Yeah, I think I actually have to like pass in the explosion radius here and like return the new explosion radius. I don't know, this function's escaping me. I'm gonna keep it at the POW because I think I'll figure it out if I just walk away for a bit. Radius scale, keep that at 1.1. Yeah, so this is gonna work. Just make sure it's all still working. Is this my 3.0? Yeah. Let's go 10. See how big we can push it. Boom. Yeah, that's a huge, huge missile explosion. Okay, that means like we've implemented the perks. They are all implemented now. We have perk health, perk ammo, perk speed, and perk damage. And I do know that the friendly fire, we have to take that off on explode layers, or sorry, explode missile. Needs to pass a false here to not hurt yourself. And because we're a good colleague, we'll test that.
Hang on, we're in for some chop.
Yeah, so I'm not hurting myself anymore. I still have huge loadout, test loadout on huge damage, but that's fine. But yeah, all this stuff is functional now. We have like drive speed, extra health, and more ammo and more damage. We have all that implemented now. The only thing, actually, I just remembered this health bar. We want that to like physically get bigger based on the health perk, so you can like tell that's bigger. So that's going to be in like tank renderer. Inside this tank player scene, this health bar here, we want it to grow. So it looks like the default size 78. Change it to 80. Oh yeah, you can tell it's like growing to the left. So we're gonna do grow flags, grow direction, both on the horizontal tag there. And let's default it to 80. I think that's reasonable. Negative 40, probably in the middle. Is this growing the way I expect? It's not. This texture thing. Oh, this is yeah, it needs to like grow that. Stretch margin? I think I gotta turn on this 9 patch stretch. 18 is the default size, so we'll put her back to 18, and now I think it's gonna grow properly. Change that Y to 0. Change it to 100. Yeah, so this actually is correct. You just have to change it in min size to grow evenly. Yeah, Godot's sizing system is not good. You can see how like annoying it is to get things in this right place based on whether they grow. Allow greater, hey, what does that do? Can't grow outside of the box? It can't. Yeah, okay, that's weird. Um, yeah, so now this min size and size is what I want to do to control the size of this health bar. And 80 is going to be the default. So I think we just go to tank renderer. Let's add a const here. Let's call it like default health bar size. Actually, you know what? Let's not do it with a const. Let's do it all just one spot. And we're kind of doing everything in process for these renderers because it's just simpler for network stuff just to do everything every frame. But this type is not synchronized. Is this the only spot where I do has rendered? Yeah. Okay, the health bar right here. We want to change the size of this thing. So we're gonna go $ health bar. You know what? Let's get the health bar. Var health bar equals $ health bar. Is it $ health bar slash health bar? Totally is. As texture progress. And let's get it there. Let's paste that there. And now just the rect size. So there might be multiple sizes, like for min size and size. I think I might need a variable for this. So I'll do like vector2. And let's go default health bar size. No, let's just do 80. 80.0 times whatever I think it's going to be self.tankplayer.health. Get max health. And this is 18. Now I think I go health bar dot rect size equals health bar size. Maybe I just do min rect min size. This is the stuff that confuses me. Like, does it matter what order I do this min size in? I think it does. But I think that that's gonna get us the health bar we want. So I should have a pretty huge health bar.
Strap yourselves in, boys.
Yeah, look at that. Huge, and the 9 patch is incorrect. And the position is not right. Now I did expect this, if I don't do the rect size, does it grow the way I want it to?
Hang on, we're in for some chop.
Yeah, it does. See, that's a weird aspect of Godot. And like it won't shrink. Like if you were to decrease the size of this health bar now, it would probably not be in the right place. But thankfully that's not going to happen in our game. You're not going to have less, your max health isn't going to go down. Yeah, so we got to fix the margins on tank player, health bar, this stretch margin stuff. So if it's 78 units wide, then 78 divided by 2 is 38, 39, 39. So let's do 35 stretch margin on either side. And then if it's 18 up and down, just go 9, 9. It's like halfway. I think that's gonna work. Play.
Keep your arms and legs inside.
Yeah, that's actually good. Huge health bar. I think I gave myself like 10 health perks or something. Okay, that actually works good. It looks a little odd, but 10 health perks, I think we're gonna like cap them. So that's, you can't buy 10 health perks. Let's see what 3 looks like.
Hang on, we're in for some chop.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, we've implemented the perks. We have new gameplay features in the game now. So we're getting closer and closer to alpha on this thing. So if you guys like it, follow Winterpixel on Twitter, and you'll be in there right when the game comes out. Yeah, let me know what you think about this thing. Tweet at me. And follow us on Twitch and all that stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys next time.